All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It's the mighty, mighty RSC, and as per usual, it is survey time. So, this week, I know y'all been paying attention to all the crazy shit that's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, specifically AEW. So, we're talking about CM Punk survey time. Fellas, around the ring real quick. If AEW is done with CM Punk, is Punk done with pro wrestling? I'm going to say yeah.
I say yes as well.
I'm gonna go yeah. No.
This guy. The champ has spoken. The show is starting right.
Peace to the gods, the ringside club hard. My name is A.O. Say you're around the Don. Blame Boogie while you at it, blame Chad Law. K-Fabe is dead, break the fourth wall. Whatever style, whether it's lucha or strong style. Come through the beam, we fly, burn the bar down. Back to the pad, chop it up for the par. Ringside club, intro to the squad as the show starts. Good God Almighty, he's got a family, damn it.
Yes, sir. Welcome to episode number 7. This is titled The Last Dance. Peace to the gods, peace to the earths. Broadcasting live from the Empire Tri-State. We are the Ringside Club, and this is RSC, Around the Rings, pro wrestling roundtable show hosted by the best 4-man booth in the game. Everything you need to know is at theringsideclub.com, but in case you don't know, you can subscribe on YouTube, plus all podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon Music, and everywhere else you may get your podcasts from. Plus, you can follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You heard? Make sure you tell a friend that it's them again. As for me, myself, and Irene, I go by the name of A.O. Baker. You can find me everywhere at DJ A.O. Baker. And with that said, I'll pass it to the guy, Mr. Ron the Don. What's good, boy?
Yes, sir. Thank you, my God. I am Ron the Don, 5 foot fresh, giving you nothing but less. You can follow me at Ron Don PMF on all platforms. Let me kick into the guy below me, the white chocolate brother. What's good?
Yo. Blame Boogie, everybody's favorite scapegoat. You can find me at your local Chick-fil-A or Chipotle in the drive-thru, waiting for my goddamn food. I'm gonna pass it over to Chad Law.
What's happening? It's the Godiva piece himself, Young Godiva, CHADLAW, Chad Law 100 in the spot right now. It's the Ringside Club, and y'all know what I'm defending, right? Right, fellas? Guess what I'm defending?
Sky man.
It's been a great weekend. It's been a great
I thought we weren't gonna bring this up, man. Whatever.
Yeah, you definitely thought wrong. You know that was going to happen.
Production
Yikes.
purposely forgot my champ is here drop. They purposely forgot it. I'm blaming production. Just sabotage.
I lost by a point. I lost by one fucking point.
I lost by several, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
I just lost. I don't remember how much I lost.
You know what I akin my win to? It was like that fatal 4-way where the two guys team up on one of y'all, maneuvered all the finishers. I snuck in, threw both of you out the way, and then got the pinfall and redeemed. That's exactly what happened with this.
Or you were Braun Strowman on Raw and just completely said, fuck this match.
Yeah.
This shit is mine now.
This match ain't happening no more. I'm here.
I mean, I'm ready for a pay-per-view every week, man. We might have started doing Impact pay-per-views, man. I'm ready to defend this.
That was fire.
Globes, man. Let's
Settle
do it.
down.
Yeah, it sounds like because you can easily win.
It was a good weekend. Let's leave it where it was.
Yeah.
Every company I'll defend the belt.
Sky, man. This guy's about to start doing GCW, HOG, New Japan. This guy's about to find new
NWA Hard Times
federations.
is coming up. Yo, I will be the predictions champion across every single. Shout out to everyone that was on DraftKings too that got their money off that DraftKings for AEW and for WWE this past weekend. So man, if you were DraftKings or like myself, salute to y'all. Y'all know how to put the right money, where the mouth was. So Pause.
Pause if necessary. It's only right. We give the champ a little round of applause. It's all good. It's all good.
All
All right, that's
We have
enough.
pay-per-views coming up. You're gonna have to defend it, but it's all good.
Yeah,
But as
cool.
as y'all already know, you're tuned in to the mighty RSC, the Ringside Club. You see the merch in the back, that Godiva gang. You see that PMF, that part of my fresh coffee. Listen, we're doing some things. We got pro wrestling hats coming up real soon. You see the production value. You see every time you tune into this show, we're adding something new, a new wrinkle, something new to the show. So make sure you stay tapped in, or you might have to tap out. So let's start the show. Let's start with
pause if necessary.
Yeah, pause if necessary. You know, those pause if necessary pieces of merch are coming as well too. You heard me. All right, I'm gonna throw this around the ring. We had a very busy, very full, jam-packed weekend of pro wrestling, premium live events, pay-per-view spectaculars. So I'm gonna run down a couple of highlights. All due respect to NXT, but you heard. We're talking WWE Clash at the Castle, and of course we're talking AEW All Out. So I'm going to just run down. These are the couple of things that stood out to me. We had Roman Reigns retain that WWE Universal Championship, plus Solo Sikoa added himself to the bloodline. That's the younger brother of the Usos. We had Dominic Mysterio finally turn heel and turn on his father, Rey Mysterio. People have been calling for that for a very long time. Gunther defeated Sheamus in a banger. They beat the hell out of each other. That was fire. That was European strong style at its finest.
Absolutely.
Definitely up there for match of the weekend right there in my book. Moving over to AEW, All Out. We had Action Bronson in the pre-show come over to Hook's aid. That was fire. Young Bam Bam. Young Bam Bam in the flesh. Bam Bam Bigelow. We had MJF finally make his return. He won the Casino Battle Royale. He linked up with Stokely Hathaway, and he is the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship, which I'm sure we're going to get into a little bit later. Swerve in Our Glory returned heel by the crowd, but they retained against the Acclaimed. They got the rematch coming up in a couple of weeks at AEW. What's the name of that shit in Queens?
Arthur Ashe.
At the Arthur
Grand
Ashe
Slam.
Stadium.
Grand
Slam.
Grand Slam.
The rematch
Grand
for the
Slam.
tag team. Yeah, for the tag team.
Which is like also the name of like a delicious breakfast, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
you're
so.
correct.
It might be IHOP, and that's right next to the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity Paws if necessary.
I'm more of a
We
Waffle
had
House
the
guy.
elite.
Y'all know I got my stint in the
Yeah.
South. Waffle House till I die, you heard? Shout out to that Wahoo.
I respect it.
Rounding out, we had the Elite win the Trios tournament. We had Punk defeat, CM Punk, by the way, defeat Jonathan Moxley for the AEW World Championship. But the piece of news that everybody happens to be talking about, fortunately or unfortunately, was not any of these shows, but was the after show. It was basically the scrum. And I'm going to put this on the line right now. I think that was the last scrum we might ever see.
Word.
We had CM Punk just pretty much lose his fucking mind and call out everybody. Basically, I mean, he called out Colt Cabana. He called out all of the EVPs who happened to be the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, who just got back, just won the Trios title. He called out Kenny Omega. He embarrassed Tony Khan in front of Tony Khan, in front of everybody else. Crazy shit, man. So, I mean, I don't know where we go from here as far as Punk and AEW, but fellas, what are we talking about, man? Like, how do we feel about this weekend, and then more specifically, what's going on over in AEW with Punk, that whole situation right now? Throw it around the ring.
Well, the whole CM Punk situation was kind of wild. I was actually going to be a part of to say the least. I think that was like the top of my list of like favorite moments, although it was an unfortunate moment.
I got one. Check this out. A year ago, because this has only been a year that this guy has been back in professional wrestling, been a part of AEW.
That's a
fact. Year ago,
only
you had that
12
huge,
months.
rousing ovation. You had, Chicago was sold out on a rumor 1 year later, what a difference a year makes. Like, what do we think of Punk's run? Like, is this
He
it
spent
for him? Like,
most of his run injured. Let's not forget this. But only between All Out and Revolution did he really have a strong run that you can say, like, all right, I like what he's got going on. He's running around with Lee Moriarty. He's got a little bit of Eddie Kingston. He's got this guy over here. He's fighting, Powerhouse Hobbs. But then you think about most of 2022 when he's been sidelined. He's got drama. He's got foot injury, back, neck, torn this, upset with that. It's just been more BS this year. And I wish he didn't cloud the world title picture with this shit. This is what TK wanted, and unfortunately, he gave it to us. Because I know I didn't ask for this. I was on the bandwagon of Hangman Page beating Punk at Double or Nothing and just steamrolling over him until eventually he got into John Moxley's aura. And then Moxley can respectably take the title from him from there because it's like it's Mox. Come on. Hangman and Moxley.
I guess I kind of have a different take, I guess. Similar but different take on it. I think that aside from all the shenaniganary behavior that's happening right now, like I do feel like we come from an era where we've seen when we were younger, we probably didn't pay attention to it a lot, but athletes were injured all the time. But we've been kind of blessed in this era of the past 10 years where athletes are kind of super freaks and like they don't get injured so much. Not necessarily in professional wrestling, but in professional sports where we'll see LeBron James like basically played his whole career without getting injured severely or anything like that and stuff like that, right? So we have this different standard that we hold our athletes to. I think a lot of this is that not even necessarily that some of these guys are older. I think it's that because they're older, the body doesn't recover as well as it used to or as quick as it used to. So, in certain cases, obviously that'll happen. But I think that, a lot of these guys are really pushing it to their limit. I don't know if that's the case with Punk. I'm just giving a insight on it. So I truly do believe that outside of whatever, they're doing the best thing they can to keep their bodies in the shape that they need to. But yeah, man, it just sounds like it's possible that this guy, unfortunately, and it's what you hear with other athletes, but it's like once you get that name that you're injury prone, it's like, what do you do?
He was never really like this, though. He was never really
right.
injured.
No, he wasn't.
I guess this is what happens after 7 years away, thrust into the spotlight with $1 million gate, huh?
And that's where I was going to get. Right. And that's what I was going to get into because dude's been off for 7 years, so he really hasn't been active. The only thing he's done is UFC, and he's only been in UFC shape, not in actual wrestling shape.
Which, by the way, I will say, like, UFC shape, and I know this from, like, I was a wrestler in high school, like an actual wrestler in high school. It's one of the most, it's very grueling. Like, it is. Like, football players have very, very tough practices, and there were a lot of football players that also were wrestlers, and they would compare it and say, like, the actual practices are way harder than the meets, the wrestling meets.
I quit halfway through the season.
It's tough. I did one season. I was one and done.
I couldn't.
I was one and done. I had a concussion.
I
had
work a job, and also keep my lungs up to run laps around the entire gym.
It was tough.
Run around that gym 100-something times to just start wrestling shortly after grappling. It's like, yo, dog, I've been running around the gym to start the workout.
It's tough. I've been in a situation where I had to drop 10 pounds in a week. So you running around with plastic bags and garbage bags on you and just running up and down steps and all that. So I will say, like, as far as like being in some kind of shape, I think Punk was in some kind of shape, but I think his body just adjusted to not having, like you were
normalcy
saying,
to life.
Not having to do that pro wrestling thing. Like these people basically fall for a living. They're stunt like stunt doubles, and they fall down for a living. So
for sure,
absolutely,
they lift people up and fall for a living.
That's fair.
And Punk probably just started training to come back, like maybe like a
you
month
ain't.
Before, saying.
And we don't speak his name too much for obvious reasons. The man's like Voldemort or whatever, but Hogan's finisher wasn't too crazy. He just had a simple leg drop, and that leg drop fucked him up. Yeah. So, the move don't got to be no fucking triple, whatever the fuck Excalibur be saying when he's snoring. But it is definitely, putting a toll on these these ladies and gents' bodies, man. This shit ain't no fucking game.
Sidebar: we need to get Excalibur drops. Like now, you got the movie man. We need Excalibur's voice to give a rundown for everything on around the ring.
Yeah, like whenever AO gives a take, just like, oh, the Jujutsu or whatever the fuck he be talking about. Right?
Yo, I need Excalibur and Taz to narrate my life.
Yeah.
Like, yo, he's going to the store. Actually, Excalibur, he's going to the mart. You know what I mean? Like,
Paul Heyman's doing my eulogy. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Out there.
I need it. I need him there. You know what I mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, this was Chad Law.
Don't forget Godiva Law. Chad Godiva
This
Law.
was Chad.
Chad against.
That's
Chad
not
against the law.
May have
Not a
mad phlegm. May have mad phlegm flying on the mic. Pause.
not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
Wasn't necessary.
That's a spoiler.
Yo, that ass. It ain't a prediction. This is we all gonna die. So it ain't a prediction. This is
Might as well have
Pretty much
Paul
a
Heyman come to
spoiler.
it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, if my boy
so
Key
we
was
went
here, he'd
around.
literally be hitting the bottle right now.
On a nicer note,
We went around the ring and we all agreed that Punk would not return to wrestling except for Mr. Chad Law. So why do you think that if AEW is done with him, that he, like, what's the possibility? Where does he go? What's the situation where Punk is going to come back?
I think Punk won't come back to any major corporation, but he'll just still want to be involved somehow, some way. Maybe he'll go to Japan. Who knows?
Punk to MLW confirmed.
I don't even think. Yeah, right.
Core Balor don't have that
that.
budget.
There is
Core
no
Balor
company,
don't have
Definitely
that budget.
not. I can't.
there is
score on
no
MLW.
company outside of the two majors that can handle CM Punk's ego and cachet and bankroll right now. Like they can't do it.
Punk to NEW for sure. No
Yeah,
question.
it's not happening. So I think he just stays away for a while. And I think Tony Khan will bring him back once things breezes over. He's already got 6 to 8 months of being out right now. So it's like the way Dynamite flew by this past week, he could stay going. And I'm a CM Punk guy, but
In the corporate world,
I agree. Like,
in the corporate world, they do a lot of different shit though. I'm talking like if these guys are really going to work together, they might have to do some type of like workplace counseling. They might have to go through all different types of shit so they can actually be around each other before they're actually around each other. It depends on really, the world we live in is totally different from when, the boys used to fight in the back type shit. Like, people are calling the cops nowadays. It ain't just like some regular shit. It's like the world is totally different than what it used to be. So, yeah, man.
yes. Yo, I
the
just say,
Elite will never work with CM Punk and FTR after this at all. Like, there's no way.
But FTR had nothing to do with it, did they? What FTR?
They weren't even
they
at
were
the
home, I
arena.
thought.
There's nothing to do. But
Word.
by association, the feud of those
Got it.
two teams is not going to actually be a case now because that shit turned into a real life thing.
listen, Punk just
Got
needs to he just stay away for a little bit, let his foot heal up, let things cool down.
Nah, that ain't his
And-
foot. Like
and-
that's a pec. Like he has like a pec injury.
I'm
He
talking.
has
Tricep.
he has surgery. He has surgery. He
I
has
thought
surgery.
you had.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah,
had the
surgery on his
foot, but in this
Okay.
match, like on a tope or something off the top rope or whatever, some kind of dive is where he basically hurt his arm. So here's the thing:
thought
like
he had
I've
tricep.
listened to a couple of theories. There's a couple of theories that are saying like Punk knew in that match that he hurt himself. So by the time the match was over, he knew that it was going to be something like longer than a week that he was going to be out. So he said, "Fuck it, I'm going. I know I'm not going to be here anyway. I'm just going to unload whatever the fuck." I've heard all kind of stories like Punk knew in advance that, within like the year out of his, I think it was a 3-year contract, that he knew he didn't want to be there anymore. So he was just going like, just fuck it, I'm throwing out whatever. Like, did Punk go into that scrum purposely saying everything he said because he knew he wasn't going to be there? Because that's some wild shit. You got to figure, like, not only is he in front of his boss, but he's talking like he's just a wrestler. Like, the craziest comment to me had nothing to do with anything he was saying about anybody specifically. It had everything to do with the one comment where he said, "I'm trying to run a business." He's an employee that was saying, "I'm trying to run a business." That's wild as hell to me. That's
Like basically
wild.
running into
I'm
business
trying
from
to run
himself.
a business that you don't own means that your brain is going in circles that we're not ever going to understand. So I
Word.
don't know, man. Like it's one of the weirdest situations I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of people compare it like the Brett and Shawn '97 kind of thing. Punk considers himself a Brett guy. Is definitely really Shawn. You know,
I'm not alone when I say I want this to be one of the last few times we talk about CM Punk and this bullshit for
I'm done with it.
20 minutes on our pod. Because CM Punk has been nothing but I don't even want to say a cancer, but just like this whole weekend is just like, I already didn't want him to win the belt back. I'm already furious at that. And then this, it's like, yo, just get this guy out of our mentions and stop
Yo,
talking about CM Punk.
facts. Yo,
He
basically,
gotta
like
go
what
get
he,
his shit together.
basically what he did just overshadowed the whole weekend.
The
Like
whole weekend.
I'm not hearing anything about anything else. Like not even about Passion
There
Classic,
was a lot
nothing
of
else.
good
Just
wrestling.
that.
You almost forgot that the Acclaimed were the most over team of all weekend, like because of the CM Punk stuff, like which is crazy because it's
Word.
the Acclaimed. Not to
Word.
say the
Yeah.
Acclaimed aren't a great team, but it's just
And even that was an uncomfortable part of the media scrum. Like that whole media scrum was just weird, man. That was weird.
Yeah, everybody seemed like they were extra edgy. Like you saw, like Swerve and Our Glory came out. They had a little extra edge to them. You saw like
Yep.
Jericho came out. Jericho whispered when he
Jericho
was
was the
done with his
calmest
portion.
one. He was the
Yeah, but he
calmest
was
person.
mad calm. But when he left, when he got up, he whispered to Tony Khan. He was like, "Yeah, we got to talk in your office. Some shit went down. He had to call the cops." Like a lot of people ain't catch that. Some people caught it, some people didn't. But like when he was walking off, he was like, "Yeah, some shit went down." Like it's nuts. It's a shame that on a weekend where your pure pro wrestling fans had a smorgasbord of like so many different matches and so many different types of shows that people were putting on, the thing that took all of the headlines was some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm tired of all the work shoots. I'm done with all the work shoots. I'm done with all of like the behind the scenes. Just give me a good story. Like we was talking in the group text, and I ain't gonna say the shit that we were saying in the group text, but just give me some kind of story where somebody was talking to somebody's old lady or said something crazy to somebody's mom or, jumped somebody in the parking lot. Give me some kind of gripping story. Like Stone Cold did not get over and become Stone Cold as we know him because of a work shoot. That was part of him like kind of crafting that character. But Stone Cold was a dope character and he had the feud with Mr. McMahon. And they made great television. People got to remember this is supposed to be good television instead of just being gossipy. I don't watch Hollywood Housewives and none of that shit. I watch
It's
wrestling.
fair.
I think the one thing we could learn from this is something we learned in a lot of sports, and we've been seeing it a lot lately, right? I'm never talking about firing anybody. I think that's corny to talk about other people's livelihoods and careers like that, right? But at the same time, I do truly believe that we see what happens when a lot of these companies get top heavy. And when they get top heavy and there's a lot of people at the top, it can work, but it has to really, really, really be something special for it to work. And I think a lot of that specialty wore off because AEW became a big business really quick. They were a smaller company that just started. They were forced to grow up really, really quickly. As they grew up, things started to change. Shit, any of us could attest to relationships we've had with our friends where we're not friends with people we used to be real close with. This is all relationships. It's people growing. These are crazy ass dudes that are doing some carnival shit on a city to city basis, and they're doing it in front of our eyes, and we all have opinions. It's just this crazy social circus. We have a podcast because we're able to talk about what these guys do because we love it so much, So it's like, I fuck with it. I think that I don't really even, we'll do it in our text because I know that we have the best intentions when we're saying it. But I don't even like to use the words work and shoot just because I'm not a fucking professional wrestler. Like, yeah, I know what that means, but at the same time, they're putting on a performance for me to just appreciate. So at the end of the day, it's like, all right, who cares? We're just finding out about some TMZ shit, and all right, that's cool. But at the same time, when you're so heavily involved in the entertainment aspect of it, it's hard to separate yourself from, wait a minute, is this real? Is this fake? Because the whole premise of this thing is that it isn't real, but the risks that they're taking are the feuds they have with people sometimes are, as we're seeing now. It's like there's a lot of things that are really going on right here that we're starting to see in a modern world. But we got to, exactly like, I don't know if it was Ronnie or AO, but this is meant for entertainment, guys. We're supposed to be entertained by this. So I think what happened, just to kind of bring it back to what it is, we won't go too crazy into this topic because I know it's coming up, but I think the way Tony Khan and whoever else helped book Dynamite this week after all that crazy shit went down did a fantastic job of pulling that shit back on the rails because that shit was steamrolling towards the wall real fast. And without mentioning anything, they were able to get us to pay attention to what they wanted us to. And they put on a pretty solid show on Wednesday, man. So,
Agreed.
Yeah,
all things considered. But yeah, man, we can't forget about it. I mean, fuck it. We had Clash at the Castle. We had Worlds Collide. We had the rest of the AEW card. We had a great fucking weekend. So we get into some of that shit, man. Whatever y'all want to talk about.
Nothing, yo. I could run back any of those 3 pay-per-views at any given time and be like content, like with watching out of those 3 pay-per-views. Like really solid weekend. This is usually my favorite time of year.
I didn't have enough time. I was running around to actually sit down to watch NXT, but like I heard nothing but good things about it. Right? I watched the whole world, the Clash at the Castle. Amazing, like really, really dope. Just like there were a couple of shots that I saw of like the entire arena and all the people that were just in there. That's amazing. That's amazing. So, yeah, man. Like hopefully, like this is the end of like at least for a while. This is the end of that drama. So basically, to put a bow on this the CM Punk topic, what it's looking like here is yesterday on Dynamite or Wednesday on Dynamite, whenever you're listening to this podcast, this show, there were no mentions in the intro. There were no actual images of either the Elite or CM Punk. When we got to the show, all of those titles that those gentlemen held were vacated. So immediately we had a new trios champion crown, or at least a trios match that was set up. And then we had the Grand Slam World Championship tournament that was set up that we can talk a little bit about. But just getting back to the wrestling, the one thing I took away from this past Dynamite, and I'm gonna pass over to Ron. But the one thing that I took away from this Dynamite was this vibe felt like the vibe before Punk actually got there. When a lot of the people like, and I don't want to just single out Punk, before a lot of those big names got there, when they just had like dope wrestlers and some stories, and when figuring some shit out, even going back to the pandemic when they were just down there in Jacksonville at the one arena that they were doing in Jacksonville, just figuring out a way with whatever we had, being resourceful, figuring out a way to put together a dope show. This felt like that with the budget, with the fact that we have some names that are signed. We're going to put together a dope show. We're going to reset. We're going to get everybody back, all of our fans faithful again, that we can put together a really dope show and entertain them without the bullshit. Even MJF, everybody expected MJF to come down and talk a bunch of bullshit. And even though he threw a couple of mentions of WWE, it wasn't as hard as he could have gone, because we know how MJF kind of gives it up. So yeah. That's how I feel. Like it felt like a vibe to get back to basics and put the train back on the trail.
Shake the Etch-a-Sketch.
True heart.
Absolutely.
True heart.
Facts.
So yeah, that was this past week, and we got a bunch of shit that we could talk about from this weekend. But I'm gonna pass it over to Ron right now. You threw this in the notes. You said, "Is there a limit to getting over?" Now, before I throw it to you, I want to just say, like, there's so many different conversations about what over actually means. And this is one of them conversations I've been waiting to have. We could do a whole podcast on this. To me, over means a connection with the crowd. Like, just because somebody cheers you, like, if somebody's booing you, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not over. If you come out and you get no reaction, that's when you're not over. You know what I'm saying? Period. So for me, before I even throw to Ron, I just want to let my opinion be felt that if you are over, your job as a professional wrestler that is over is to get a reaction from the crowd. Ron, you got it.
Yes, sir. So what inspired me to ask this was Boog. When you asked me, I hate going back to this, but the whole CM Punk situation, and you asked me like, you put in the chat, you was like, what if this was a work? And I thought to myself, I was like, what if this really was a work? And what's a face? If this was really a work, do you is it necessary to really take it this far? to to do whatever, whatever, do whatever he did, say whatever he said. And to me, I think, you got to go back to like, you got to think about like the storytelling in wrestling, and you got to think about, you know the times when they started using real life situations and using that into storylines and trying to put, the whole thing over. And I
Or
remember I was looking at I think one of the last biography for the for A&E, and it was it was for WrestleMania 1, and it was talking about his Vince McMahon trying to get the company over and trying to figure out how to get the company over. And he started with WrestleMania 1, and the people that were there. You got I think Cindy Lauper, Mr. T. They had the
Yeah,
whole the
that was
whole
that
Roddy
Rock and Wrestling era.
Piper.
Mm-hmm.
that they had the whole storyline, and now you're kind of blurring fantasy with reality. And I think that might have been one of the first times where you use kind of like real life stories and implement it into wrestling. And fast forward to now, it's pretty much everywhere in all these companies. So the question I want to ask is like, how far is too far to like implement your life into wrestling? Because when I'm talking about when like Punk was going at what's his face, Cole Cabana, and putting his whole like that whole thing on blast. And I'm like, yo, the only time I can see that being like okay is if he had a conversation with that man and said, okay, we're gonna use this and we're gonna get ourselves over. You know what I'm saying? But it
Yeah,
just seems like that just, Punk was just
Yeah,
upset
that was
about
just that seemed like, yeah, exactly, like it was 100% reality. Like that wasn't even
yeah,
trying
that
to
was
be no
nasty.
storyline shit. That was just
right.
nasty work. Yeah,
And I'm like, yo, how far is too far to implement like things like that into your storyline? And not just
yeah.
that, he wasn't, you can tell he was serious, like, but
Yeah,
like how far is too far? You know what
I
I'm
think
saying? Like,
Listen,
like the how far is too far is definitely like it depends on who's actually involved in that storyline for one. Like what are their boundaries,
Facts.
mm,
right? You have to have these conversations. Like for me personally, like I've never been a wrestler, obviously, like a professional wrestler, but I would imagine that you would have a conversation and say, all right, we can talk about this, this, and this,
mm,
and then this and this is off limits.
right.
So if we're talking about like Punk and Cabana, none of this hasn't been a work since like probably 10 years ago,
Mm,
right? So anything
Them
like
boys
they
hate
like,
each other.
yeah, they absolutely do not fuck with each other. Like that's what the vibe is right there. But if we're talking about other things, like I'm trying to think of situations where people brought like other
yeah,
wrestlers'
like even
personal
even
lives.
Seth and Riddle right now, talking about each other's
Yeah, that's
wives and
perfect,
shit. Like,
perfect.
mm,
Yep,
I'll punch.
Oh,
Like,
that's
no
beautiful.
disrespect to any three of y'all, but if any of y'all talked about my wife like that,
thousand
I
percent.
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
like my
it's
hand is gonna
Ringside
permanently
Club is a
be in your
done deal.
face.
Yeah, Ringside
Word.
Club
Yeah,
is a done deal if we cross certain
it's
lines.
over. Like, so
Like
I
I
don't know,
but
man.
but
It's a sticky
like
situation.
that's a perfect mention though because I would imagine that the two of them, like even though at one time they had a beef with each
They
other
had
or
to talk
just
about that. Word.
yeah, they had a conversation and said, "All right, let's put this to the side. We're gonna say that we know where the line is, but we can talk about this in order to sell tickets or, sell subscriptions to Peacock Plus if necessary. Like we can figure out a way to turn whatever our animosity is into a storyline. So that's the line. The line legitimately is communication. If those two people that are involved in that feud, or however many people are involved in the feud, if they're cool with whatever we're talking about, they talked about it ahead of time. That's the line. If they didn't, we have an issue.
May I ask this question before anybody starts? Um, Now, do you think? I was seeing somewhere that AW has to get out this honeymoon phase, and
Oh, it's over.
yeah, and the another question I want to ask is, do you think Tony Khan will do anything insane just to get the company over out of desperation, just to compete with WWE? or other companies. Because this is what it kind of felt like. Although this was all a shoot with Punk, but since they, I can see, them doing something out of desperation, just to get themselves over. Because now they're in this phase where now they gotta get out of the honeymoon phase. Like now
I
you gotta
think
do some
the
serious
the
shit.
the easy answer to me, especially from knowing how hyper analytical AEW's been since Cody's been there and everything, and just knowing all the numbers and the ratings, et cetera, et cetera. I think we need to step away from the numbers and the
Sheets and all.
graphs and all this shit, and we need
Honestly,
to just give the fans what they fucking want, bro. That's the
yeah.
only way you're gonna right this ship is just give the fans what they want. And I honestly believe that this last episode of Dynamite was a good start to that. Like we said, it felt like that grace period that we had before all the big names started really piling in, and we got some dope shit that was giving us an alternative to watch instead of what was at the time very stale WWE product. So it's
Mhm.
like, we're looking at something that hopefully Tony Khan doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Hopefully he don't have to fucking have a fucking Danhausen on a pole match. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully we could just have
Mhm.
like,
That's fucking wild.
we could have like regular booking. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they have the pieces that are there that can make tremendous, tremendous booking. I don't, again, dirt sheet shit. Like, I hate that word. I feel gross even saying it, but it's like,
Yeah.
we're all interested fans, I think is what you would call all four of us. So I'm interested in even people's mental
Pro
states. So like
wrestling
the situation,
enthusiasts.
yeah, like Malachi Black and what's going on with that. Like, do I want to see them break up? No, I thought there could be great things going on with that. We got new trio champions. We could have
Mhm.
the fucking I was just gonna say the Dark Order. We could have the House of Black really do some shit like, and they'd put on tremendous matches. We got Samoa Joe back. We got a bunch of
Mhm.
real players that can make some shit happen. After this whole media scrum, we didn't even talk about Samoa Joe. We didn't talk about shit that happened this weekend,
Yeah, because all that shit
including, like you
Exactly.
overshadowed
said,
it.
how the crowd really, really loves Drew McIntyre over there, and he's a fucking rock star, bro. Sheamus is a fucking rock star. Like,
Mhm.
there's people that are literally the Beatles over there right now as far as
Yeah.
wrestling goes, and like, dog, like it's just there's so much that got overshadowed. And again, I'm saying this as a fan of all these guys. I love Hangman Adam Page. I think the Bucks and their whole shtick is fucking hysterical. I love all that, but again, there's just a lot of oil and water going on right now. So again, I don't remember your first question, Ronnie, but I do remember you asking if you thought
Yes,
Tony Khan was going to have to
question.
like pull out Barnum and Bailey Circus to kind of like make things work. And I definitely hope that he doesn't have to do that. I think we could really book this shit the way we need to. I mean, if you
Word.
ask the Redeemer, you know what I'm saying?
Um, all right. What I was saying before was the first question was like how much was just to get over like how far
Oh, okay, gotcha.
how far to how far is too
So
far to
on
get over.
that,
You know what
and
I'm
I'll
saying?
keep it quick so I could pass this. But yeah, like I feel like as long as it's in the best interest of furthering the story, furthering because I don't give a shit about the business. I'm not watching wrestling so that the business does well. That's not my comment. I don't give a shit about the business. I give a shit about the entertainment aspect of it. So as long as
Absolutely.
it furthers the story and it's something that we're all entertained by and it's something that the wrestlers aren't trying to kill each other about, then fuck it. I think it's all fair game. I think when we're talking about somebody like MJF who is clearly now being paid and is now still shitting on Tony Khan, I like that's got to be an awkward conversation. But when your poker chip is that you're now the biggest name in the company or the biggest draw in the company, I guess, statistical standpoint, I guess you can say what you want. So, and again, it is what it is. If that's part of the storyline, whatever. I'm here for entertainment. The problem is, it's like you saw your parents fight once, right? So there's only one time your parents could be like, "No, we were just kidding." You see your parents fight again, and then they're throwing hands. It's like, all right, there's some weird shit going on here. And believe my parents didn't like beat each other up, guys. I'm good. But no, I'm just
I'm
saying,
not
like,
going in the
it's
kitchen.
yeah, yeah, no, I'm cool. My parents loved each other, but at the same, I'm just saying, like, if that was the situation, it's like you just can't put the curtain back. You peeled it back, so now you have fans looking at this shit like, what's going on, what's happening, what's not happening. I don't fucking know, but I do believe that as long as both parties involved, they're cool with it. Fuck it. Even if the company's not cool with it, fuck it. If both parties that are in the ring are cool with it, that's the way wrestling used to be, man. Call it in the ring, say what you got to say. So, fuck it.
Facts. I believe they have a conversation about it. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll be all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Well, Chad, what you think?
It's the law.
I just wanted to take this time to remind y'all niggas that I beat you all, and I'm still the Around the Ring Ringside Club Predictions Champion. If you fuck with DraftKings, fuck with me, man. All right.
Shut his mic off.
I can't wait for Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules around the corner, guys. Get ready. Bring your best bets. Bring your best placements. Bring your best predictions, your best hypothesis. I'm coming for all y'all heads, you dig?
Hey, can you mute his mic, please? Mute his mic, please.
Keep it a full buck with you.
I'm not saying I called them, bro, but they're here for you, bro. You got to get in the van, bro.
The
You just got to
authorities,
get in the
my
van,
nigga.
bro.
The
This shit is
authorities.
crazy.
Chad JF.
Chad JF.
All right, man. We gonna throw it around. Gonna hit Bug.
All right, guys. So
a lot of Buffalo action, a lot of Griselda action over the past week. What's good?
yeah, listen. I just got to shout out everybody that I fuck with in the entire Buffalo area, Griselda affiliated or not. But it's hard to not be Griselda affiliated if you're from Buffalo, right? You have to be really stupid to
About
not
the
be
art.
affiliated with them out
It's
there.
all about the art, man.
It's the
Yeah,
art.
for sure.
The
For
art.
sure.
The
Listen,
art.
I start having an accent with my wife sometimes. It's just
Yeah,
a
you see
hard
that?
thing to not
see
do. It's
see the art?
contagious.
Yo, do you see the
But
art?
yeah,
That shit
this
clean. That
this
shit clean. That shit clean.
this past week on Dynamite, we had a West Side Gun takeover, and it was a fantastic happenstance. So I got a little clip I'm gonna throw it to real quick, and we'll discuss it. But check this out. This is from this past week on Dynamite, or after Dynamite.
How does Danhausen get these diamonds?
Listen, man. First of all, you already an honorary Buffalo kid.
Oh!
So I'm gonna do something for you, man. Let me get you right, baby. Let me get you right, man.
Oh,
Let
my.
me get you together, man, so you can bling, baby.
Oh, yeah, it's bling, huh? He's a Blinghausen.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
good.
There we go.
The power! I feel so powerful now.
Yes, yes. Let me get you right, man.
Oh, yes.
You looking beautiful, baby.
We are both beautiful now, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I need some of these teeth.
Man, I get you some too. Let's do
Oh,
it.
yes, let's do it. Yeah, it's pretty good. I won't curse you.
Yo, Danhausen is fucking hysterical, yo. I fucking love that dude.
Oh, Danhausen, right back on the trick.
But yeah, man, if you didn't catch Dynamite this week, you did yourself a great disservice. It was highly entertaining from beginning to end. The fans didn't really take to Tony Khan too much, but I think it's just because they were taking out their anger on the situation, and it had nothing to do with him. But at the end of the day,
We that's insane.
We got a West Side Gun performance on TBS on a fucking Wednesday night. First of all, let's just talk about that.
Selling bricks. Let's not forget
These gentlemen are no different from anyone that you know in your local towns that have started from the ground up, and they are on national fucking television. They are the biggest wrestling fan, bro. We are all just like these people. We are all regular fucking people, right? Except, West Side Gun loves himself, bro. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? You're West Side fucking Gun, But at the end of the day, this guy finally got on television for all of his contributions to wrestling, every bit of the culture. He's finally fucking got his shine on a Wednesday night on TBS. So you could drop a couple more bombs real quick. We'll let it breathe for a second, and then I'm going to throw this around the rings. Let's do that real quick. Now, aside from that, shouts out to D-Jack, shouts out to everybody. You know who you are. There's too many to name, literally. So yeah. But as far as everything goes, I wanted to bring this topic to it. How does everybody feel about their new Ring of Honor Pure Champion? Let's go, Chad. Start with you, bro.
Daniel Garcia it's been a long time coming for this man. He deserves his win. You know what I mean? He's finally coming into his own as a character. He's been representing the JAS for quite some time now. I think they're going to do a swap with the Black Bull Combat Club. I think it's necessary, man. I think it would be a good feud to see Wheeler go over to JAS, get some personality livened up, and Garcia just, go over with. And maybe that won't even happen. Maybe Danielson and Garcia will just make their own tandem and just break away from.
What if we get Jamie Hayter in the BCC?
Yo, Jamie Hayter can absolutely get some BBC. Jamie Hayter can definitely get some BBC.
I did.
Sure.
I didn't say that.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, we're getting canceled, bro.
Young good guy.
Oh man, yeah, Jamie Hayter in the Blackpool Combat Club.
This fucking
That'd be totally immaculate. I think that'd be a great fit.
Backseat Combat Club.
You know what I'm saying? She's a great athlete, a great person to look at, a great polarizing figure in the AEW women's division. Shout out to the AEW women's division. I am an asshole.
For sure.
Going against Jade Cargill.
Yo, listen, I'm just hyped that they were on before 9 o'clock. How about that?
For sure. We did bring that up. 9 p.m. We did bring that up. Yep.
And that's, what is it, 9:37 or something like that?
But yes,
that was impressive.
Question. That's the main question of Daniel Garcia. I give him, it's his time, man. Give him the Ring of Honor title. Give him a belt. He's been there long enough. He held it down during the pandemic, having great matches. Now's his time. Yuta, 150-something days, and it's like, what memories did you make outside of beating Garcia and then continuing to just do cartwheels behind Claudio every time he comes to the ring?
Right.
Man literally is skipping behind him, man, as he comes to the ring. It's just like, yo, dog, what's going on here? Are you a defending champion or are you just a cartwheel man? Like, I don't know what's happening with
He said cartwheel man.
Cartwheel man.
Coming to a theater near you. Cartwheel man.
Yeah. So it's like,
on a t-shirt. Write it down. Cartwheel man.
Bro, Garcia as pure champion, Bryan as world champion. AEW will just completely wash away all of the CM Punk stench with that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the Elite and Punk never even existed. If this is what we're about to have this fall, yeah, it's like those groups never even existed. I'm done.
I mean, yo, you saw Bryan Danielson come out and coronate Garcia. He put the title around his waist. He held his hand up. He shook his hand.
That man's so slim, pause. He can't even fit the belt. The belt don't even fit him, yo. The belt is just going crazy.
He had to put it to the side, like somebody.
That shit was like a fitted hat. He was like this with the belt. It was crazy.
Yeah. So you saw that. It was wonderful. Like Daniel, and you got to remember that guy is 23 years old. A couple of years ago, he was in a bad car accident. It could have been over for him. Right? He could have been completely out of here. So you figure, like, I could only imagine coming down, you have somebody who's from your town, 10 years your senior, rap you out, right? Entrance music. You come out to the ring, the crowd is with you. You win a title. Like, people talk about, like, pro wrestling being fake, and yeah, it's choreographed. It's not a real sport. But that's about as real as it gets. That's why,
bro. He's 23 years old.
23
he's
years
20
old.
Fucking 3. When I was 23, I lived in the house with my parents. It had absolutely no worries in the world. I was straight. This kid is 23 years old. I don't care what his worries are. He's in a fucking professional wrestling company on national television all the time. Got forced to be the mouthpiece for pause in a group. Got forced to fucking be this personality he wasn't. The fans are chanting he's a wrestler. He's in front of his hometown. He's got a group of fucking rabid Buffalo fans themselves. You have to understand it.
It was crazy.
I've had a unique experience being friends with these gentlemen and doing business with these people. This isn't just a normal group of people. If you've never dealt with anyone from Buffalo, New York, you have absolutely no idea how passionate these people are about what they do. So for him to be able to really have that moment in his hometown, and not even just that moment in his hometown, the night before Buffalo Bills have their opening game of the the preseason they're in right now. Football.
Right?
That's the season.
Started.
So you have the Buffalo Bills home opener happening the night after West Side Gun is on AEW for the first time in his hometown with Daniel Garcia winning the Pure Championship off of Wheeler Yuta getting the belt put on him by his fucking idol, with Chris Jericho, who's everybody else's idol, coming out fighting over him. You have your idol and your other idol having a fucking ragdoll war over who's gonna own you and take you home type shit. What a cool fucking moment for this dude. And like you said, he almost died, man. This is just cool as shit, bro. cheers to him. I'll take a shot to that too. I wish I had one over here, but cheers to Daniel Garcia, man. Happy for you, man. I don't ever have to meet you or know you to be proud of you, sir. So congratulations.
Right. And like that's the real life shit. The on screen shit is the fact that the guy is nice.
Word.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like a lot of people been comparing him to Bryan Danielson, and that's the reason why the two of them are linking up and doing shit on screen. So
you might want to get that round of applause ready too, because
yeah,
he could really perform the shit out of "You Should Let Me Love You" by Mario. If you ain't see that on his Instagram, check that out. You know what I'm saying?
No, facts.
Pause on that. I was not watching another man sing "Let Me Love You" on his Instagram.
I mean, the performance is fire, bro. I watched Mario sing it. Fucking, you know what I mean?
All right.
Yo, what other podcast has ever mentioned Mario? What other wrestling podcast has ever mentioned Mario, bro?
Don't make me sing that shit on here right now. I'll sing that shit right now. Word
Yo, Bug, I
ain't gotta bust out
DJ
a
for you,
vocal
kid.
Yo, listen, I'll sing back up, bro.
Wait, hold up. Y'all said y'all wanted me to get sturdy on the pod, bro?
Yo, let's go.
Let's
go.
Do it.
Set me up. I can't dance to nothing. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Please throw this shit around the ring so I do not have to fuck my whole life up on this podcast.
I got it.
Sidebar was, how do y'all feel about pure matches? Like Ao, Ron, y'all can answer
Love
that.
them.
Like, how do y'all feel about? Boy, how you feel about pure matches?
Love them.
Title?
I love the way that ROH used to present them with the scoreboard on top. You know, you see how many times somebody punched somebody, how many rope breaks they had left. Like, I love it. And the reason why I love it is because it's something different, but it's very easy to understand. So you can immediately get into it. So that's one of those things that it kind of reminds me of what WCW used to do with the Cruiserweight division. Like, you didn't have to really understand a lot about the two people that were in a match against each other to get into the match. So with the pure division, you can take somebody from over here and take somebody from over there. There's no storyline, but you put them in a match and you give them this pure rules umbrella to wrestle under. You immediately understand what they're supposed to do, what they can do, and what they can't do, and you get into that shit. It's like it's like going to the park and watching a couple of people play ball. Period. It's just like that. It's just like watching a pickup game or exhibition game or a G League game or whatever. You don't need to know the names of the two people involved to get into the storyline. So I fuck with it. But when you get into the fact that you have this name that you know, Jay Lethal, versus this name that you know, Jonathan Gresham, perfect. Like, it adds that much more. So you got the built-in storyline or whatever the pure rule is supposed to be, with the fact that these two people are who they are and they may or may not have a feud with each other. I love it.
And I think on top of that, it's dope because we see and we joke about it. You know, I don't think all of us, our demographic, we don't necessarily have the attention span to sit through an entire handshake wrestling promotion like NWA. Like, NWA is great. They have great matches. I'm not shitting on it. My fucking cousin works there. It is what it is. It's just, I don't think we all have the patience to watch a full handshake wrestling promotion at this point. The pure championship, that allows us to have it as like we need it in this generation, where it just comes from one match. Boom, it's in there, it's out of there, and it holds true to the authenticity of wrestling. It's like a throwback jersey. You know what I mean? It's fire.
I asked that question because I was with the homie earlier and I was watching Dynamite, and they're a casual, fan. They come and go through Dynamite. They're still tapped in, and they were just like, "Yo, this pure rules match is boring as fuck." And I'm just like, man.
Nah, man.
Who was in the match? Who were the two wrestlers?
It was the match. It was actually this past match. He was just like, he didn't mean particularly that they were boring, but he's just like, yo, the pure rules concept in general to him is the most boring fucking.
So he don't want to see lockups and wrist locks.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Because they would you can't have a closed fist, so it has to be a palm strike. Like, you can't. There's a lot of things you can't do.
Right.
But I think, I don't know. I think
it makes it better in a way.
To
Not that
see
it
the
makes it better.
reaction that Yuta got just for using the closed fist was like, oh, that was a big
Yeah,
deal.
the story builds. So when you actually do punch somebody, you get the warning. Like that story is built in. You was not supposed to do that shit. So when you finally
Right.
do it, it's like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
So I think like I don't know.
I
I
think
think
it
it
makes.
works. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it can work. I think it can work.
I think it makes it better because now you're confined to more stricter rules. So now you have to
Right.
show what this wrestler is made of. You know what I'm saying? With where you allow the 3 rope breaks, and then after that you
Yeah,
can make them tap, without
yeah.
them, touching the rope or whatever.
But here's the
So
thing: like a lot of people that are like what we consider casual fans know wrestling from whatever they saw the Attitude Era as.
Mhm.
So throwing somebody off top of a cage or a steel chair to the face or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody says wrestling, first of all they think WWF or WWE, and then they think about all the wild shit. So maybe the pure wrestling is like you gotta work somebody into that. You know?
I respect it.
dig it. Word.
Somebody else got a topic. If not, I think we should just like throw some miscellaneous like, yo, what did we
Well,
miss type shit.
I had Extreme Rules. I want to throw Extreme Rules.
Oh, bet. Let's make it.
Mhm.
Let's make it happen.
All right, so pretty much I was saying with the next Extreme Rules pay per view on the way, I got to defend my.
He got the shank out. I was gonna say, bro, he got a fucking knife on camera.
Got to
He said,
defend my
yo,
title.
I got a
Oh,
topic, B. I got a
Gotta
topic,
Jesus
B.
defend.
Christ.
I gotta defend the belt.
Oh.
You know what I mean? That's what's going
Yo, I'm
on.
going. Let me go to the car real quick, bro. Fuck this shit.
This
I
fucking
mean,
guy.
so
He got
pretty
one in his
much the
trunk.
prediction, the current card for October 8th in Philly. Dexter Loomis and Miz. You got Seth Riddle. Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. No swapping. Seth Riddle.
Seth Riddle was the
Seth
homie.
Riddle is
Seth Riddle.
Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. Tentative no DQ match. Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes in a street fight. Bailey versus Bianca Belair for the women's title.
Hey.
Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Dominic versus Ray, and Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in an Extreme Rules match. That's 7 matches. It looks about right.
Wait, who's carrying cross fighting?
Drew McIntyre. That's
Bet.
the tentative card right now, but it looks like it's pretty much going to be accurate before. I think we'll get there way before. We got exactly a month, so we're going to start to see all that form into play. No Roman,
Yeah.
no Usos, no Braun. And we're already at 7 matches, and I'm already kind of satisfied off that card. Honestly, I can't even hold you. I'm pretty good.
That
I'm
sounds good.
like
No
Brawling
doubt.
Brutes and Imperium in a street fight. I'll take that. Sign me up. But I just wanted to pretty much go to like the topic of if y'all do fuck with Extreme Rules pay per view, what are some of y'all favorite Extreme Rules or your favorite Extreme Rules pay per view, the best one that you've ever witnessed, experienced, that you've ever even watched? Because this is coming up next. They always switch the dates around. It's usually in the summertime, it's in the spring, now it's in the fall, so you never know with Extreme Rules. But my favorite Extreme Rules would probably just be the original One Night Stand. That was in 2006, not the 2005 one. That one was kind of mid, but the one in 2006 when RVD beat John Cena at Hammerstein Ballroom.
That was my answer.
Bro,
That was my answer.
That
bro.
I was literally watching that on. I was glued to the pay per view. I bought the pay per view and I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be insane." Rob Van Dam's about to be WWE champion. There's no way he's losing. There's no way he's losing. He's Money in the Bank. There's no way he's losing. I think that was great. And you had Rey Mysterio versus Sabu for the world title, which is so random. But I was just like, yo, that's actually like kind of fire. In that era, that was actually kind of a dope, like Sabu versus Rey for the world title? That's actually kind of... So yeah, I went down that rabbit hole of watching that pay-per-view the other day, and I was like, yo, this was actually a really good card, bro. Like, this was solid, man. Terry Funk versus Mick Foley, like, that was kind of OD. Like, 6-person tag and a gender tag nonetheless, but it was still pretty rocking. Peak level hate for John Cena. What's y'all favorites?
Yes, that was my answer. Like I went back to talk about like when I went to when you sent that shit in the chat. It was like, what's the Extreme Rules? So I went and looked. I'm like, I thought Wyatt's versus the Shield was Extreme Rules, and I was like, nah, it was somewhere else. It was when RVD came out and everybody fucked with him, and then John Cena came out and everybody booed him. He walked out, head down. He knew what time it was. He played the character perfectly. Like You can't get more pro wrestling than that. That was dope.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So that like
Yeah.
that's my answer. Like Extreme Rules was based off of what
One
ECW
night
used to
stand.
do. Yeah, yeah. But like what ECW used to do, bringing the WWE, like that was dope. That was my answer. Same shit. Ryan.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Here's the thing about me. I have solid memory, but I do forget. So I do
Just look it
not.
up real quick. What's up? What's some Extreme Rules? What's a
Oh,
year that you watched an Extreme Rules
oh
paper?
no, I did. I was about to get to that. Like, yo, so when you asked that question, I was like, yo, I don't remember a damn Extreme Rules because I had to go back and see. Because once I see something, I remember it for like a week and then I'll forget.
Right.
Right.
So I
Right.
had to go down, a little rabbit hole and see some highlights. And the one that stood out to me was I remember Evolution versus the Shield in 2014. That
That
was a
was a
so-
good one.
that was a
That was very
solid
good.
one.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
good one.
The
Very good
next
one.
the next one that stood out to me was Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn in 2016. And I saw the highlights of that. I was like, yo, that shit was crazy.
It's crazy that they've been doing this for the last better part of 10 years.
Facts. And every time they
Over.
get in the ring, it's magic. Like it's insane.
You
And
said
and then
2016, and it could have been from this year.
oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's before Sammy grew out the Habib beard and
Yeah,
whatnot.
definitely.
And the last one,
Was that before the WrestleMania where there was like is that before Daniel Bryan won the title? Like when they had the double match and then Triple H?
I think that was
That was after. That was
after,
2016.
yeah,
This was right when AJ Styles got there.
Okay.
right, because AJ Styles didn't get there until 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he had AJ Styles had the match against Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules. That was a good match too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he
And then
did.
and then the one I completely forgot about was Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler in the Iron Man match.
Damn, that was a sleeper right
Yeah,
there, bro.
hell yeah. I completely forgot
Wow.
about that.
I
And see,
totally forgot about that match.
and then I saw the highlights from it. I said, yo, that shit was mad entertaining. And people gotta realize, yo, Dolph Ziggler is fire
Who
in
was
the
putting
ring,
on a
man.
clinic? He was
Absolutely.
wrestling some very good people at that era. I mean, yo, whenever he has full series with people like Miz, Seth, Finn, like Dolph, he does what he's supposed to do, man.
Here's my argument about Dolph. Dolph is Shawn Michaels without the storytelling.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
agreed.
Put them in
And the
ring.
fan base.
Yeah, like
Dolph's got a fan base though.
but the
Maybe
fan
not a
base was
cult
there
like
because
Nah,
of
the
the
Shawn
storytelling.
Michaels one though. Yeah.
It's not definitive.
The
I
fan
don't
base
think.
was there because of the storytelling and the time. So if you put them in the same era, I think Dolph Ziggler would outperform Shawn Michaels.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think Shawn Michaels is overrated.
Oof.
That's a fair assessment because when I honestly looked at this highlight reel of John Cena, I'm like, he didn't really do too many outstanding moves in these.
I think Shawn Michaels was just outstanding for his era. Because nobody else was doing what he was doing at the time.
He just brought the
Sure.
charisma. He brings the charisma and the name value, man. It's just Shawn Michaels, yo. It's a heartbreak kid.
When
What are you gonna say?
you judge like some of the shit that he was doing, yuck. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the things that people say are oversells and whatever. Like this is why I'm definitely a Bret Hart guy because Bret made it look like that shit really hurt. Completely
Shawn
different
Michaels
podcast.
oversell. Look no further than Hulk Hogan 2006.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. That's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
That SummerSlam was a classic.
That was a legendary SummerSlam, son. That was a good
Is it?
string of SummerSlams, if I do say so myself.
I gotta
Man,
look back.
on
I gotta
top
go
of
back
the
and look
book.
at some of those. Kind of
What's
missed
your
those.
Extreme Rules pay-per-view?
I'm not really big into that's not my favorite pay-per-view of the year. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that I hate it, but I'm not really tuning into Extreme Rules because it's Extreme Rules, if that makes sense. But
Okay.
if I'm gonna give you anything, I'll be obscure, and I'll pick the Wyatt swamp fight from 2020, Strowman and the Fiend. I thought that was that's pretty hysterical.
Nuggets is wow. I totally forgot about that one too.
Happenstance.
Ditto.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that came and went. Wow.
life is different, man.
Yeah,
Yo, it's
Wow.
wild how far away 2020 feels.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
2 years
exactly. Yeah, it was only 2 years ago.
We've been in the house for a while, ladies and gentlemen.
ago.
Right.
What's
Yikes.
the swamp fight?
I don't have
Nah,
any
they
socks
really
on
did.
right now.
They did
ladies
a
and
Bayou
gentlemen.
Classic. That was crazy though. That was kind of
Yeah.
nuts. That's
Yeah.
Word.
about that. Wow.
But you got
Who knows?
mhm. Yeah, you got to applaud WWE for putting on those matches, being
Yeah,
creative
for
like
sure.
that through that whole pandemic,
Nah,
man.
we
You know what I'm
appreciate
saying?
them.
I think that's where it all
This
started.
this Dominic and Ray match may, potentially be a good one. We know that there's potential there. We'll see what happens.
Yo, my theory there is like that's Ray's retirement match. Like
Yo,
whenever they do,
chill.
like he,
Chill
yeah,
out.
yeah,
What are you
that's it.
retiring for?
Nah, he's
What
definitely not
are you
retiring.
retiring
Dog is
for?
almost 50.
He said he's got 3 more years left. He's
I
still
don't
not
give
gonna
a fuck
retire.
what he said.
He can still go
He's
like he's
almost
25. He's Rey
Dude,
Mysterio. He's got
yo,
to
if
like
you
Rey
150 pounds.
Mysterio's retirement match is going to be against Dominic Mysterio.
But I don't think it'll
it,
be at Extreme Rules. And then,
it's not gonna be
Nah,
there.
not now.
and
I don't think Ray's gonna fight him until he's ready to retire. So it's gonna
so
he's
you
gonna
think they're
draw it
gonna
out.
prolong this whole storyline for the next
Yeah,
up to
yeah.
months?
Because
That's insane.
bro, we
Fuck that.
just
Fuck
could
we
do
fuck
it.
just
everything.
saw Rey Mysterio say, "I'm never going to lay hands or fight my son." I'm paraphrasing, but like he said that. So they're gonna draw that out. I'm never going to do it until I'm ready to retire.
How many times are so at that point you're gonna give us a best of 7 series of Edge, Ray, Dominic, I mean not even Dominic, Finn, and Damian Priest, while Dominic and Rhea Ripley just run around and trip their feet and cause them to lose? Like they're gonna have to have a culmination of something at some point, man. I don't know when,
I
but
think
it's
it's gonna
like
be a
this
lot of
storyline's gonna wrap up before WrestleMania. I don't see this storyline going on until WrestleMania. There's no way in hell this
all right.
storyline.
So here's the
Thanks.
bet. Here's the bet. I throw $10 on it.
I'll throw
The
20.
bet. I throw
Oh,
40.
shit.
I don't give a
Oh,
fuck.
here we go.
Between now and WrestleMania, are you saying Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio will have a match?
They will not only have a match, they'll have several matches, and I put 20 on that.
I'll put 50. I don't give a fuck. Between now and WrestleMania, Dominic and Rey are going to have several matches.
They are going to be at Survivor Series. They're going to be at TLC. They're going to stare each other down at the Royal Rumble. They're going to be the final 3 at the Elimination Chamber. They're going to be everywhere until WrestleMania.
Let me
You're actually going to get
let
the
me
opposite of
clarify.
what you just bet. You're going to get the opposite because it's the E.
Let
You're
me
going to get it all.
clarify. Let me clarify.
You all see it.
Between-
Ron's like, damn, he's right. They
between
are going to stare each other
now-
down and rest at the Rumble.
Between
They are going to be the
now-
last 3
nah,
Elimination
'cause a
Chamber.
fucking stare down on me shit. Between now and WrestleMania, Rey and Dominic will have a one-on-one match.
Yes. And it'll be on a throwaway Raw in the middle of November to throw us off the scent.
I know
Because
you're right. I hope you're wrong.
it's the predictions champ, y'all. It's Rayside Club. Come on, let's send them home.
RSC.
Oh, my
It's
God.
RSC, baby.
RSC.
You know the
If he
fucking
does-
plug, man.
If he does retire him, he's taking his mask. I'll tell you that.
May say this, yo, Rey Mysterio is not retiring anytime soon.
I
If you
agree.
look
I'm
at-
with
if
you.
you if you look at Rey Mysterio's biography on A&E, I found out this man he goes to, I think, Mexico. He gets stem cell. I think he got stem cell for his knee, his shoulder, and some other places on his body.
He dropped the
So-
bomb on stem cells.
so-
Stem cells.
Yo,
Bomb dropping on
I've
stem
never
cells,
heard.
mad funny.
He
Yo,
said
that's
fire.
wild.
That shit was fire.
Yo, by April, he's gonna stem cell his whole damn body.
Yeah.
Yo,
That's
he's
what I'm
gonna be
saying.
ready
He's got
for
at
his
least
son,
like 3
dog.
more years. He said 3 years, and I believe him at this rate.
My
He ain't doing
whole
nothing
bet-
crazy.
My whole bet is between now and WrestleMania. Dominic
Hey, yo, gonna
and
keep
Rey
repeating. He gonna keep
will
repeating
have
this
a
shit. He
one-on-one
gonna keep repeating
match.
it. Repeat it again. Between now and WrestleMania, it's only gonna be one match.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ringside motherfucking club.
The champ is here, y'all. Come on. See y'all at Extreme Rules, October 8th.
Chad, you got it. Take us out.
Yo, it's the kid. Le Garçon, nigga, dive a piece himself. CHADLAW alongside my brethren, Blame Boogie, Ron and Don. Ayo, man, y'all make sure y'all stream. Check us out. The new intro is fire. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Boogie, to God, making that happen. Ayo on the vocals. West Side Gun, we see you, man. We know what's going on. We got to get that fourth rope situation situated. You know what I mean? And until next week, the predictions champ and the squad. We're out of here.
You heard.
Peace.